So I read that you've toured every continent apart from Antarctica.
Yeah, with the band has been on every continent except Antarctica.
Okay, so
So if you
uh,
know a guy or gal that books down there, you let us know.
this video is brought to you by CuriosityStream, which for a limited time is being bundled with my streaming platform, Nebula. This is Mark Lettieri, guitarist, composer, and producer based in Texas. He's released 5 albums under his own name as bandleader, and since 2008 has played in Jazz World Grammy Award-winning group Snarky Puppy. In 2018, he joined Fearless Flyers, an incredible supergroup with Corey Wong, Nate Smith, and Joe Dart. But now in 2021, he's joined forces with PRS to create the Fiore, his signature guitar. Here's a sneak peek of our conversation. The full hour is up on Nebula. I really enjoyed myself. I think you will too.
Tuesday talks.
Once you started playing guitar, when was like the first time you got into a band, and did you make one with your friends at school?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We were rocking the garage scene in Menlo Park. We would play in Owen's garage and we would play in Brian's garage, and occasionally we would play in my garage. But yeah, that was really one of the most joyous experiences I've had in music, was just like discovering that stuff with like-minded people at that age when you're so impressionable, and you're discovering new sounds for the first time. For us, it was like grunge rock, hard rock, rock, all day long. And we would just get into my friend's garage and play a bunch of Metallica songs and some, Sublime tunes or whatever. And then we would order a pizza and climb a tree. It's like, that's the best, like I want to do that now.
Me too.
Maybe I should.
That's all
Maybe
I want to do.
That's what I'll do for the YouTube. It won't be like live from Daryl's house. It'll be live from Mark's shitty garage, and everyone can just hang out. We'll clean it out. You fly down here, get some cameras going, and we'll just like rock out in a dingy garage. I think that would be. I'm serious. I'm kind of serious.
But I'm not adverse to the idea.
Okay,
as soon as I can fly, I want to come on over, and then
Deal.
I really, really want to climb a tree. When it comes to Satriani and Vai and the instrumental guitar gods, how did you come across them? How did you then get influenced? And then what other types of music also influenced your style of playing?
Right. A friend told me about Joe Satriani because he knew I was playing guitar. He was like, "Hey man, I know you're interested in guitar. Check this guy out. There's no words." And I was like, "Oh, okay, whatever." And so I listened to it. I was like, "Oh, wow, it's like just all awesome guitar playing all the time." And I just ate it up like crazy. Joe is a Bay Area guy, so we would go see him play, Fillmore and places like that.
Wow.
And I just kind of went down the rabbit hole of him and Steve Vai and Eric Johnson and, all these incredible players. And then that moved into like other incredible players of a different genre, like John Scofield, Charlie Hunter, Pat Martino, George Benson, players like that. As I got a little older, I kind of started getting more into jazz and stuff like that. But I think what was cool about hearing that kind of great guitar playing early on gave me the confidence that maybe I could do it at some point in my life, and now in my 30s, I'm about to put out my 6th instrumental guitar record. And so I kind of look back on that and I'm like, wow, it kind of worked. kind of planted the seed there early on. But it took some steps to kind of like be okay with the instrumental thing is like being my voice. Cause I'd always really just been like either a band member or like a sideman or something like that. So kind of like taking the step to just get my compositions together, work on my production skills a little bit, and then just like learn how to turn these melodies and riffs and stuff into songs that are, I feel are consumable as compositions to people, and kind of make my statement in that regard. So I'm glad I took the leap, I guess. But yeah, I mean, those players were hugely influential to me. And of course, Edward Van Halen as well, coming from a more like band guitar player perspective. But yeah, my influences are all over the place. You know, I have all kinds of influences in gospel and R&B music too. Jonathan Dubose, Eric Walls, you know, players like that. Spanky Alford, you know. So I just kind of try to soak it all up and put it into my own vocabulary. So at least hopefully it sounds like Mark Lettieri at the end of the day.
When you're finding your voice, like, would you now say you have tools that you implement when making a track, or do you then think overarching when it comes to the album? Like, what are you thinking about when you start a project?
I think for me, it's really goes composition by composition. And then as those start to take shape, I then formulate them and mold them so they all kind of, if they all need to be on the same record, I will tweak them with respect to the song, you know, so that they all kind of at least fit together. But I think you can get a lot of that done with production, with the sounds that you use. This next baritone record, for example, sonically, I was kind of careful to make sure that the tones were all kind of matching. You know, I have 4 or 5 different drummers on the thing, I think, but so you can feel them, all their differences. But and sonically, the kits are actually pretty different. But the way we mixed it and kind of produced it and all that, it's sort of seamless as a record. Not that everything sounds the same, but it has a thread, right? And so even though there's tunes that are like really up tempo, crazy, like dance funk things, and then there's like mid tempo, weird, behind the beat, soulful things, but it all kind of feels like one thing because I was real conscious about the sounds that we used and the way that stuff was mixed, things like that.
Snarky Puppy, the way it did it blow up, or was it like a natural progression for you? Because I feel like I obviously just everyone I think was I at university when basically I was surrounded by classical and jazz music nerds, and we just all freaked out about Snarky Puppy because it was like the goal, because it's the camaraderie level, the performances on YouTube, and just, you know, being able to watch that, the way it's been curated.
Sure.
Like, how did it feel from your perspective?
I see both sides of it because at the beginning we really were like a garage band, except, you know, they would rehearse in like a student room at their university or something, or like a church basement or something, like that's, you know. And then we would just go play shows and drive around in a van and sleep on floors and make no money, you know, for years. And then the series of YouTube videos that we put out for our first record, Tell Your Friends, was kind of the thing that announced us. And so there were a lot of fans who were like, oh yeah, those guys, they play in, you know, Hattiesburg, Mississippi every 3 times a year. Like, and we knew who they were, you know. But then there were folks like yourself overseas, which I think a lot of it was, you guys were really responsible for kind of, you know, trumpeting it from the rooftops for us. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. I'll take all the credit. I'll take credit where I can get it.
But, you know, everyone was seeing these videos and sharing these videos. And I think what we were doing at the time, I don't know if it was necessarily a new concept, but for a young band to kind of like bring an audience into a studio and sort of film everything live. And there's the record, I think at least felt unique to a lot of people. And so that in case kind of blew up, so to speak, for us. But we were definitely grinding on the road.
So I read that you've toured every continent apart from Antarctica.
Yeah, the band has been on every continent except Antarctica.
Okay, so
if you know a guy or gal that books down there, you let us know.
Oh yeah, let me just get my little book.
I'm sure there's some scientist friend that you have that can, you know, send us on a fishing trawler. I'm sure we can put the call out
on YouTube. Obviously I
watch, you'll get someone.
That's a whole YouTube video in itself. That's like a whole documentary of you guys going down there.
That'd be wild. Yeah.
I mean, you never know what could happen. Like, that literally might be the first thing after the world opens up. Just being like, all right.
I think Metallica played in Antarctica. If someone could confirm that they played a gig in Antarctica.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Okay.
I feel like of all the bands that could possibly pull that off, it would be Metallica.
Metallica. Okay.
Yeah.
I gotta look that up.
Like, what's the worst scenario you've ever felt you've been in that you've managed just to hold on to?
I mean, there have been a couple that were just kind of funny and like sort of embarrassing, where like I think the audience knew something went wrong, and so we all just kind of laughed it up. There was the most recent memory I had was playing a gig with my trio in Sardinia, the island outside of Italy.
Mm-hmm.
And it was this really nice jazz club, and we're ready to go on the set of music, and it's a trio, so like I like having the delays and the verbs to kind of spread the wealth a little bit. And there was a very famous jazz drummer in the audience. I won't say who it was, but he was there, and so I'm already kind of like, oh crap, right? And so but like 10 minutes before we were supposed to go on, I just foolishly hit a switch on the power transformer that my pedal board was plugged into, and it blew up the power supply on the board. And so I think all I had was my J-Rocket overdrive and that maybe a tuner. I don't remember if there was maybe a phase shifter, I think, into a Fender twin reverb with broken reverb. And I had to play the whole, 90-minute set. And my music, I need gain. I need these things to like really make the tune speak, but I just went for it. And I think it actually probably went okay. I guess, nobody left. But I got to credit JT and Wes, my band, for carrying my ass, really. I mean, because they could tell I was struggling a little bit. But we did it. We made music. I smiled. I may have said something like, yeah, Gear's a little not working tonight, but thanks for coming. But probably didn't need to say that, because people don't need to just play the show.
Yeah.
And you just do what you can and have fun and make smart choices when you're soloing and go for the right note, go for the tasteful notes, maybe not all the shreddy notes, and you just motor through it. So
what's the collaborative process with making a record, in these sorts of times? Like, do you produce with them over some kind of form of technology, or do you just say, hey, here are my stems, go all out?
It's a little bit of both. Yeah, mostly on the here are my stems, make them cooler. Because I'll like flesh out the demos pretty succinctly here in the cave here, and then have some emails, have some texts, have some phone calls about direction, about this is the part you need to play, just do it in your language and with your sounds and your thing. And then other times it's like, here. And so like Bobby Sparks, for example, will send me a bajillion tracks of keyboards. He might play one part on 4 different synths and then let me choose which sound I want to use.
Oh my God,
which is really fun. Yeah, I know. It's like, which is really fun. And, a lot of the cats will kind of do that sort of thing. Here's take 1, here's take 2, you blend them, whatever you want to do, and so the last baritone record was all done like over email, globally. The horn section on one tune, 2 cats were in Europe, 2 cats were in the States. We had people kind of all over the place on that thing. And so that's fun. I'm excited for people to hear this. It's gonna be really cool.
At the beginning of this video, I mentioned Nebula, my amazing streaming platform, which is where I'm hosting exclusive and ad-free videos. You can see an extended version of this Tuesday Talks episode without this advert, plus my in-depth conversations with Cory Wong, Tomo Fujita, and Josh Turner, as well as my European tour diary. There's just loads to dive into. The best way to access Nebula is by signing up to a subscription for CuriosityStream, who are very kindly sponsoring this video. If you aren't already aware, CuriosityStream is the best place on the internet to see thousands of the world's finest documentaries and non-fiction titles. It is the biggest documentary streaming subscription platform, founded by John Hendricks, the founder of the Discovery Channel. My documentary pick this month is Frank Sinatra or America's Golden Age, which has totally reignited my love for the golden-voiced crooner. The documentary sets the scene with his humble beginnings and moves through his career, spanning more than 5 decades. It shows how he became the most popular entertainer in the world through music, movies, radio, and TV, but doesn't neglect the difficult moments of his life. We worked out a deal that if you sign up for CuriosityStream with the link in the description, you'll also get a Nebula subscription for free. And just to give you a little more information, that Nebula subscription isn't a trial. It's free for as long as you're a CuriosityStream member. For a limited time only, CuriosityStream is offering 26% off their annual plans. That's less than $15 a year for CuriosityStream and Nebula, which is a pretty amazing bundle. So if you click on the link in the description or go to curiositystream.com/Mary Spender, it helps me and my fellow creators keep producing informative videos.